Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Wednesday and happy July. Today's Red Mic message, still under construction. Want to make an observation this first day of July about June. June is a very interesting month. June is when the Supreme Court releases most of the opinions from the cases it heard during its term. And almost every year, the same thing happens. People on both sides of the political aisle celebrate some decisions and criticize others. I can't think of anybody who is consistently pleased with the court's entire body of work each term. And history reminds us that predicting the court is a tricky business. Presidents have nominated justices that they believed would reliably rule one way, only to watch them chart an independent course once they join the bench. That's not necessarily a flaw in the system. I think it's evidence that the court is designed to interpret the law, not simply validate the expectations of the people who appointed its members. When Americans disagree with the decision, our constitutional system provides a path forward. We can continue making our case. We can look for new cases to present and move through the appellate system. We can elect new leaders. Future presidents appoint future justices. Occasionally, laws are rewritten or the Constitution itself is amended. Healthy systems don't require everyone to agree. They do require, however, everyone to keep working within the system. That brings me to something the founding fathers understood remarkably well. When we think about America's founding, it's easy to imagine they believed they had created something perfect, but they didn't. And the Constitution doesn't speak of forming the perfect union, it speaks of forming a more perfect union. Those three words matter. The founders knew their work wasn't complete. That's why they built mechanisms into the Constitution to allow us to change it. They understood that self government wasn't a destination, but an ongoing responsibility. Every generation would inherit the duty of preserving, strengthening, and improving what came before it while remaining faithful to the principles that made the nation worth preserving in the first place. America was not built to be finished. It was built to endure. It was built to improve. And that truth extends well beyond our nation. It applies to every organization, business, nonprofit, church, committee, family, and every leader. The healthiest organizations I've ever encountered all have one thing in common. They're still under construction. Great organizations are never finished. They evaluate what works and what doesn't. They improve systems instead of defending outdated ones. They welcome better ideas without abandoning their core values because strong principles and continuous improvement are not opposites. They depend on one another. Again, healthy systems don't require unanimous agreement. They require a commitment to the process. The opposite is just as true. Organizations that believe they've arrived usually stop growing and innovation slows. Pride replaces curiosity. Processes become tradition simply because that's how we've always done it. That's one of my least favorite phrases in the workplace. Well, that's the way we've always done it. It's right up there with, well, that's not my job. Eventually, that lack of improvement will give way to decline. The best leaders know better. They never stop learning, refining, improving. They understand that success isn't achieved by pretending to have all the answers. It's achieved by committing to never stop getting better. If your team is no longer growing, it may have convinced itself it's already arrived. The founders gave us more than a remarkable framework for government. They gave us a mindset. Always strive to become more perfect. And that doesn't mean abandoning timeless principles. It means applying them wisely to new challenges, learning from the experience along the way, and leaving the institution stronger than you found it. That's good advice for a nation entering its 250th year. It's even better advice for leaders. Stay under construction. And that's today's Red Mic message. Hope you found it interesting or helpful. I hope you are able to put some of these things in place in your own life. Please give me a like, a follow, and a share. Shout out to my buddy Rick. I didn't know this, but apparently Facebook told him he's one of my top fans. So thanks, Rick. I appreciate you. If you know Rick, give him a holler. Tell him you heard me talk about him on today's Red Mike message. He might get a kick out of that. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. I think either tomorrow or Friday, I'm going to talk about George Washington. What do you think about that? I'll see you next time. And until next time, don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon.